The Girls and Boys Brigade building is the heart and soul of this organisation. It's the space where families come in and feel safe. It's where children come in and know that they can play. It's where youth come in and know that they can be given opportunities that they wouldn't be given elsewhere. The Girls and Boys Brigade building has needed an upgrade for a long time. The needs of our families has changed dramatically over the course of even the last couple of years. Adding accessibility and functionality to the building is paramount to ensuring that we can support children, youth and their families for years and years to come.
We had a consultant in the earlier days of this whole thing happening, and that was a very worthwhile process.
We determined that yes, we were sitting in a very gentrified area, but there was still a large pool of disadvantaged children that needed to be looked after. And so the board looked at what the services we were providing, and from that we determined that there was a capital expenditure we required to make.
Governance was covered, and the programs were covered, the building was covered, and we knew we had to move forward.
At the time it was about a 103-year-old building, and it's got great bones. It's a beautiful old building, but in essence it wasn't fit for purpose, or not as fit for purpose as we would like.
The building, of course, it's been there for many years and it's been a bit dilapidated, and to have it refurbished in the way that we've done now is just so important, and it's given the opportunity to the members, the children, the boys and girls, it's given them the opportunity to participate in quiet places within the building, but also to go downstairs and participate in noisy places.
We approached Hayball way back in 2019 to help design a new space for the Girls and Boys Brigade building. From that, Hayball worked through workshops with our kids, with our youth, with our families and with our staff to create a basement space, a play space that is better than what we could have imagined.
We really got some amazing insights in terms of how this space needed to adapt to be much more of a multi-function space and enable much more kind of gathering and sporting activities to happen for a wider range of age groups. So the basement really was an opportunity to very much enhance this space, make it feel much more inviting and inclusive for a wider number of the kids who use this facility every day.
The lower ground floor, when we arrived, it was pretty much a painted concrete finish. And when you're running around, either barefoot or with shoes, it's quite a jarring sensation you might feel in your ankles, your knees, or if you fall over and you hit your head, it could be quite a firm, I guess, impact.
There was quite a bit of work in terms of remediating the floor and making sure that we got an appropriate soft sporting enabled play space.
Now we've installed, it's almost like a rubber floor. It has a painted finish over it and it's 7mm thick, so there's a bit of spring to it.
It's a very safe product, so it finds the right balance between a soft product that's not going to jar your feet when you're running up and down on it. It's also hard enough that you can still play ball games.
It's good, these knees of floor finishes.
And I could just imagine if I was a kid myself, kind of 5 or 10 years old, it would just be dream play space with a soft floor and just walls that you could kick anything at. I think it'd be you'd have an absolute field day.
One of the most significant contributions that Hayball made was the addition of a lift into the building. For the first time in over 110 years, we're fully accessible for anyone that needs us.
The lift was a critical aspect to the design in terms of how do we integrate that within the heritage fabric. It's obviously a great enabler for a wider demographic of people to be able to use this facility across all floors.
Fundamentally, it sort of knocked the socks off me. I knew what was going on, but I hadn't quite anticipated the transition and the transformation in various ways. To put a lift in, for example, that was pretty sensational. But the facilities downstairs in that basement, both on the floor, then in the ceiling, it's going to provide some wonderful activities for the children. I imagine some of the children will want to do nothing other than go up and down in the lift.
There were bathrooms down here previously, There weren't enough bathrooms to cater for both boys and girls, and there were no disabled bathrooms. So putting the lift down here gave us the opportunity to do that. We do a lot of work with school groups, and the dignity of improving bathrooms, it really does lift people's sense of self.
Yes.
Making sure that they're private, they're clean, they're nice, they're colourful, they're places that they want to be. In some instances, kids can really struggle to go to the toilet if they're not inviting, so it's a really important intervention.
The Property Industry Foundation gave enormous support for the Girls and Boys Brigade renovation project. They offered support through connecting us with suppliers, coordinating different trades and services, offering a lot of pro bono work, and really made this process a lot easier.
Basically, we approached some of our key partners, and on the first instance it was Taylor Construction, who put their hands up quite willingly. They're one of our fantastic supporters. They're always willing to help us out, and they always come along and support us at our events. So they brought an amazing team to site and refurbished the offices. And then obviously as part of that discussion I spoke to Stefan, and it turned out that he was looking for some improvements to the rest of the property, so that got me thinking about who else I could get involved.
Taylor were brought on as our contractors for this project, and the reason we brought them on was that they understood what we did, why we did it, and did it with honesty, transparency and integrity.
I got to deal with all the contractors here. The first thing, starting from an induction, you really go through, tell what they, tell them that's a 120-year-old building, letting them know why we're doing it. Straight away, attitudes change a little bit when they know they're going to do something for someone that, could need it more than I do or we do.
It was actually quite nice to see that when we told them kind of the backstory of the brigade, that, as Peter said, they sharpened their pencils and just give us the most competitive price. A lot of times we'd actually get the works for cost price, so there wouldn't be any margin on there at all. It was really nice to see what people would do for the brigade.
The program rooms and spaces of the Girls and Boys Brigade ground floor were tired, needed an upgrade, and weren't functional for our families. Unispace came on board and have designed spaces that are functional, creative, fun, and safe for our families.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm an associate designer at Unispace, and I'm the lead designer on this project. Unispace design team holistically were brought on board. We all met up in the office and we started brainstorming from day one how we could transform this existing space into something that was maybe a little bit more functional and also a bit more beautiful.
This has been a real collaboration to get everyone here together to support this. It's not just Unispace, it's been lots of people, and everyone else had a day job as well as doing this project of passion, basically. So just to make sure that we kept the momentum, that people kept that still front of mind and prioritised it as much as we could to make sure we got the outcome.
Mid-level redevelopment provides a new consultation room that is quiet and private for our family support services. And the youth room is equipped with a new kitchen, a projector screen suitable for workshops, presentations, youth dinners and movie nights.
I remember Stefan mentioning on the first meeting I came on that on the agenda that was potentially a projection screen that may have or may not have, was going to proceed. So when I walked out of that meeting, I remember calling one of my work colleagues and said that I'll make sure it happens. And we got it delivered, and I remember Stefan saying that the kids are going to love the space, but they're really just going to care about the Xbox and the gaming. So I felt good about that.
When our families walk into our newly renovated space, they're going to be welcomed not only by smiling, caring staff, but a space that's functional for them. It's been updated to include spaces where they can pick up food when they need to, toiletries if they need to. It's a space that shows them respect, that shows that we care, and shows that they have somewhere where all their needs are met.
There's a lot of families who need it, and I think they've learned, as they get to know us, they really, really trust us, and we play a very important part in their lives.
It feels so bright and light and fresh, so I think there's a sense of pride in the place, which is nice, and hopefully that flows on to the kids. I'd like to think that this project's also a bit of a symbol of collaboration and what can be sort of achieved when everyone comes together.
I think it's a very calming place, and I know when there are children and the staff are here, you know, the whole atmosphere is just one of security, love, safety, and you feel it. You have to sort of be here to feel that with the children here. There's a softness to the rooms, there's a calmness about the rooms, there's a comfort about the rooms, and they're not institutional, they're homely. And we have obviously a lot of people to thank for the contributions that have been involved in this project, their generosity and making that be part of it.
Oh, it has to brighten their moods, doesn't it? You know, you've got to make them feel that they're worthy of being in such a place, which they are. So.
I think it's very important for everyone to have a safe place where they can grow and succeed, and it's been an incredible honour to have played a very small role in such a big project to make that space come alive for the Girls and Boys Brigade.
The impact on the young, you ask, is hard to describe because to me this has always had, it's a 140-year-old charity. We've got enormous history, and that feeling of 140 years sits in the bones of this building. So the impact for me is more about one of rejuvenation.
We really hope that people come along and look at this and they realise what we can do when we work together and how much more powerful we are when we collaborate. You know, one of the things we're really proud about is effectively, we're here actually to help other charities. You know, we always say, look, in the end, the pie is big enough if we all collaborate together to get outcomes.
During the end of the project, I could see some kids out front, sitting in the front using their internet, just sitting at the door. I'll tell them you've moved on and where you've gone to and you will be back eventually, and they just sat there and just logged on. It was a nice part to see, even just kids just sitting there using the internet on the street. And
so they could get the free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi, yeah. Yeah, like, everyone, I don't know, like I can't remember the last time I needed free Wi-Fi. Yeah, so it's nice, it's just nice to be back.
Girls and Boys Brigade have been here for a century and a half. I think they've been doing amazing work throughout that time. And we would just love to be a small part of that next 150 years. I mean, it's all about future legacy, this project. It's all about giving back to the community, and yeah, we're just a small part of that.
It's not just you finish the job, you're excited, and then you move on. You drive past it, you drive through the suburb, you look at it and you see people using it. Maybe it's 5 years later or more, and you still remember the project, that it's the blood, sweat and tears that went into it. And you see the people enjoying it many years later, and that's a part of the reward of building a project like this.
I have a particular resonance with the Girls and Boys Brigade because I've got 5 kids myself, and the things that I can just through privilege and being born into the family I've been born into and that position, I can give them opportunities that we can take for granted. So the fact that the Girls and Boys Brigades can give things just like being a safe place to be, a place that feels like home, that they can get their homework done, they can play and interact with other kids, and then they can go away on excursions, camps, that sort of thing. It's just fantastic, and part of growing up, and to be able to give that to children that wouldn't normally have that, a little bit choked up, wouldn't have that opportunity, it really touches my heart.
When I walk around this building and I look at the impact that we've been able to have, what really comes home to me, I think, is the message that something like this sends to the young people and the families that use it. That there are people out there that care. There are people out there that think that people are worth it, and that people are deserving of having really good environments to live in and to work in.
It is a nurturing organisation, it's a caring organisation, and there are, as far as I can see, there's going to be a need for this sort of facility in the Surrey Hills area, and I think in the future it will provide a security for families and the children who participate. So I think it's certainly a window into the future.